Um, have you ever been sprinting through an airport to catch a flight, right? But you still have to just stop and stare at one of those massive 50-screen video
Oh
walls?
yeah, they are completely mesmerizing.
Yeah, like all those displays acting as one single synchronized canvas without a single stutter. So today's mission is exploring the invisible tech that actually powers that public digital magic. We are pulling from a spec sheet by HDTVSupply for a device called the Smart-AVI MXWallPRO-1212-S Matrix Switcher. Okay, let's unpack this because we are talking about a $10,780 piece of equipment that makes that massive illusion possible.
Right, and the term matrix switcher is really the key to understanding that illusion. I mean, this isn't just a basic splitter.
Right, it is a matrix.
Exactly. A matrix creates a literal grid where any input can be routed to any output
Wow.
instantly. But to understand how it does that without lagging, we really have to look closely at the physical box itself.
Well, the spec sheet lists a 12 by 12 HDMI setup. So that is 3 input cards and 3 output cards, with 4 HDMI 1.4 connectors each. Pushing 1080p at 60 frames per second across 12 screens requires, well, a terrifying amount of bandwidth.
Oh, absolutely terrible.
It makes me think of a massive train yard switchboard.
Yeah.
Like you have 12 high-speed trains, which are the video signals, coming in, and you have to physically align the tracks to send them to 12 different stations simultaneously without a collision.
That is a perfect way to visualize it. And what's fascinating here is how it actually avoids those collisions. It really comes down to the mechanism of hardware versus software.
Okay, how so?
Well, most of the tech we use relies on software running on a shared processor, right, which is constantly juggling hundreds of background tasks. That juggling is what causes lag or crashes. But this video wall device is entirely hardware-based.
Wait, I have to push back on that, though. If it is purely hardware, how does a human actually control the train tracks?
What do you mean?
Well, the specs specifically say you manage the setup using Windows software or an Android app. So if that app crashes on your tablet, doesn't the massive airport wall go down with it?
No, and that is the brilliance of the design. You use the software app solely to tell the machine what the configuration should be.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the actual heavy lifting, the routing of those high-speed video trains is hardwired into dedicated physical pathways inside the box.
Right.
Once the app hands over the instructions, the physical silicon takes over. There is no central processor dividing its attention. That dedicated hardware mechanism guarantees real-time, lag-free processing, allowing it to run 24/7 for years without a hiccup.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because you have those dedicated physical pathways, you get total visual flexibility without any buffering. You aren't just limited to stretching one giant picture across all 12 screens.
Right, you can split distinct video sources into different zones on the fly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about high-stakes environments where that instant flexibility is critical. Security stations monitoring dozens of live camera feeds or, massive shopping malls and entertainment venues where the advertising needs to shift dynamically based on crowd movement.
Yeah, like in a security room, an operator might have 12 different camera feeds isolated one-to-one on the grid.
Right.
But the second there is an emergency at the main gate, they can instantly snap that single gate feed to dominate the entire wall so the whole team can see it.
And the hardware doesn't sweat the change at all. It doesn't have to pause and compute. It simply snaps open a different physical pathway and pushes the pixels exactly where you commanded instantly.
So what does this all mean? It means the sprawling digital signage you walk past every day, the stuff that looks like it requires a massive humming computer server to run, is actually being orchestrated by a single 2RU device.
Wait, 2RU?
Yeah, that is a 2-rack unit, meaning it is roughly the size of 2 thick DVD players stacked on top of each other.
Wow. It is a masterclass in hidden infrastructure. I mean, the public only ever sees the final polished result on the screens.
Which leads to one final detail from the source that I deliberately saved for last. The management software actually lets the user upload their own static logo directly into the switcher's internal memory.
Oh, that is a smart feature.
Right, so something for you to mull over. The next time you are walking through an airport and you see a branded multi-screen video wall flash a massive corporate logo, well, you now know there isn't some wizard behind a curtain or supercomputer rendering that image. There might just be a single, unassuming metal box sitting in a dark closet, quietly holding the visual identity of the entire room.